All right, good morning, guys. Today's Friday, heading into the weekend here. And I just wanted to get us to put a bow on Act 3 before we get there. There's only a couple of scenes left to go. Yesterday's scenes were pretty dramatic. I try to bring it for you. I try to capture a sobbing and broken Romeo and a friar who kind of wanted to punch him in his face a little bit. You know, he had enough the way he was acting, very womanish, as he put it. Um, and obviously, both Romeo and Juliet were not taking the idea of banishment that well, even though it is merciful for the prince to offer this instead of just killing Romeo for this. Um, they look at it as a punishment worse than death. So um, they both took it very poorly. However, by the end, after talking to the friar and the nurse coming to let him know how much Juliet still loves him and wants to see him, Romeo leaves at the end of scene 3 and is in better spirits to go be with his wife as she's waiting for him at the Capulet mansion. And speaking of the Capulet mansion, that's where we're going to start off with Act 3, Scene 4. We're going to start off in a room in Capulet's house. It's not Juliet's room. We're going to find out pretty quickly what's going on here. There's a lot of miscommunication going on right now. The family knows that Juliet's upset, but they're maybe not 100% sure as to why. And look and see how they respond to this by their actions here. As Capulet is here with Lady Capulet, and the two of them are talking to Paris. I wonder what it could be about. Let's find out. Things have fallen out, sir, so unluckily that we have had no time to move our daughter. Look you, she loved her kinsman Tybalt dearly. So did I. Well, we were born to die. 'Tis very late. Shall not come down tonight, I promise you, but for your company, I would have been abed an hour ago. Oh, these times of woe afford no times to woo. Madam, good night. Commend me to your daughter. I will, and know her mind early tomorrow. Tonight, she's mewed up to her heaviness. Sir Paris, I will make a desperate tender of my child's love. I think she will be ruled in all respects by me. Nay, more, I doubt it not. Wife, go you to her ere you go to bed. Acquaint her here of my son Paris's love, and bid her, mark you me, on Wednesday next, but soft. What day is this? Monday, my lord. Monday? Ha! Well, no, Wednesday is too soon. Thursday, let it be, a Thursday. Tell her she shall be married to this noble earl. Will you be ready? Do you like this haste? We'll keep no great ado, a friend or two, for hark you, Tybalt being slain so late, it may be thought we held him carelessly, being our kinsman if we revel much. Therefore, we'll have some half a dozen friends, and there an end. But what say you to Thursday? My lord, I would that Thursday were tomorrow. Well, get you gone. Thursday be it then. Go you to Juliet ere you go to bed. Prepare her, wife, against this wedding day. Farewell, my lord. Light my chamber ho. For me, it is so very late that we may call it early by and by. Good night. And that's the end of scene 4. What did you notice? Do you remember when Capulet, early on in the play, Act 1, didn't think his daughter was ready to be a wife? She was still too young. He wanted to wait a couple years for her to kind of grow up a little bit and come of age. But he also appeared to want to have Paris actually win Juliet's heart. Well, the death of Tybalt has changed some things. And he makes mention here of this conversation of trying to maybe talk to Juliet for Paris, and he hasn't had a chance to because of his nephew dying here. So he wants to kind of do what he can to speed things up, and actually tells his wife to go and tell Juliet that this wedding is going to happen, that perhaps this will cheer her up. Lady Capulet is mentioning how she's mewed up to her heaviness. In this case, she's locked in her room crying. Now there's some dramatic irony. We know why she's up in her room crying. They think it's about Tybalt. They're kind of missing the point here, that she wasn't upset earlier about Tybalt as much as she is about the thought of losing Romeo. However, there also might be another reason as to why she hasn't come downstairs. It has a little bit to do with the fact that her husband has maybe stopped by to pay her a visit. Yeah, just like that. There's a lot going on in the Capulet mansion. Anyway, let's move on from there. What's the big deal, right? Julia has to get married in a little while. Oh, wait, Thursday. What? She's already married. In a couple of days? In a couple of days she has to get married now to Paris? As if things can't get worse, correct? What's going to happen now? Scene 5. Here's the view from Capulet's orchard. And here is Romeo and Juliet together. Wilt thou be gone? It is not yet near day. It was the nightingale, and not the lark, that pierced the fearful hollow of thine ear. Nightly she sings on yon pomegranate tree. Believe me, love, it was the nightingale. It was the lark, the herald of the morn, no nightingale. Look, love, what envious streaks do lace the severing clouds in yonder east. Night's candles are burnt out, and jocund day stands tiptoe on the misty mountain tops. I must be gone and live, or stay and die. So, only a few hours have passed from this scene between the Capulets and Paris to now it is the morning after the honeymoon night with Romeo and Juliet. And she's trying to convince him to stick around, that the birds chirping in the morning here, it's just the nightingale, it's just nighttime, just roll over, everything's all good. And he's making a point to say, listen, baby, I gotta go. I must be gone and live or stay and die. He's trying to listen to what the friar told him, that you have to be gone. You must be gone, because if the prince's men find you, you're a dead man. Your light is not daylight, I know it. It is some meteor that the sun exhales to be this night a torchbearer and light thee on thy way to Mantua. Therefore stay yet, thou needest not to be gone. Oh, let me be taken, let me be put to death. I am content, so thou wilt have it so. I'll say yon grey is not the morning's eye, 'tis but the pale reflex of Cynthia's brow, nor that is not the lark whose notes do beat the vaulty heaven so high above our heads. I have more care to stay than will to go. Come, death, and welcome. Juliet wills it so. How is it, my soul? Let's talk. It is not day. Oh, it is. High hence, be gone away. It is the lark that sings so out of tune, straining harsh discords and unpleasing sharps. Some say the lark makes sweet division. This doth not so, for she divideth us. Some say the lark and loathed toad change eyes. Oh, now I would they had changes voices too, since arm from arm that voice doth us affray, hunting thee hence with hunts up to the day. Oh, now be gone. More light and light it grows. More light and light, more dark and dark our woes. Enter the nurse. Madam! Nurse, your lady mother is coming to your chamber. The day is broke, be wary, look about. Then window let day in, and let life out. Farewell. One kiss, and I'll descend. He goes down his rope ladder. Oh, art thou gone so, love lord, husband, friend? I must hear from thee every day in the hour, for in a minute there are many days. Oh, By this count I shall be much in years ere I again behold my Romeo. Farewell. I will omit no opportunity that may convey my greetings, love, to thee. Oh, thinkest thou we shall ever meet again? I doubt it not. And all these woes shall serve for sweet discourses in our times to come. O God, I have an ill-divining soul. Methinks I see thee, now thou art so low, as one dead in the bottom of a tomb. Either my eyesight fails, or thou lookest pale. And trust me, love, in my eye so do you. Dry sorrow drinks our blood. Adieu, adieu. That was kind of creepy. A little foreshadowing, perhaps. Oh, fortune, fortune! All men call thee fickle. If thou art fickle, what dost thou with him that is renowned for faith? Be fickle, fortune, for then I hope thou wilt not keep him long, but send him back. In walks Lady Capulet. Whew, that was close. Ho, daughter, are you up? Who is it that calls? It is my lady mother. Is she not down so late or up so early? What unaccustomed cause procures her hither? Why, how now, Juliet? Madam, I am not well. Evermore weeping for your cousin's death? What, wilt thou wash him from his grave with tears? If thou couldst not make him live, therefore have done. Some grief shows much love, but much of grief shows still some want of wit. Yet let me weep for such a feeling loss. So shall you feel the loss, but not the friend which you weep for. Feeling so the loss, I cannot choose but ever weep the friend. Well, girl, thou weepest not so much for his death, as that the villain lives which slaughtered him. What villain, madam? That same villain, Romeo. Villain and he be many miles asunder. God pardon him, I do with all my heart, and yet no man like he doth grieve my heart. Well, that is because the traitor murderer lives. Ay, madam, from the reach of these hands, would none but I might venge my cousin's death. We will have vengeance for it, fear thou not. Then weep no more. I'll send one to Mantua, where that same banished Rodnigate doth live, shall give him such an unaccustomed dram that he shall soon keep Tybalt company, and then I hope thou wilt be satisfied. Indeed, I never shall be satisfied with Romeo till I behold him dead. Is my poor heart so for a kinsman vexed? Madam, if you could find out but a man to bear a poison, I would temper it, that Romeo should, upon receipt thereof, soon sleep in quiet. Oh, how my heart abhors to hear him named and cannot come to him, to wreak the love I bore my cousin upon his body that hath slaughtered him. Find thou the means, and I'll find such a man. But now, I tell thee, joyful tidings, girl. Okay, so before we move on from there, let's talk a couple of things here. What the hell's up with Lady Capulet? She's a psychopath. No, here's the thing. She sees Juliet upset and really thinks, obviously, it's connected to Tybalt, as everyone would think, right? The grieving process is, of course, over Tybalt. She just lost her cousin, right? I'm sure she was close with him. Again, she's way off, but the language here is really clever, the playing back and forth with words. Notice the way that Juliet's talking about how upset she is about what's happened. And when the mention of Romeo comes up, she actually kind of reveals things without saying too much that Lady Capulet could maybe understand it, but is not thinking too much the fact that, well, obviously she's not thinking that they're married, but she's careful with her word choice here. This idea here that she says on line 94, indeed, I never shall be satisfied with Romeo till I behold him dead. right? So I'll never be satisfied until I behold him, right? That could have multiple meanings here. So she does this a lot if you look at this conversation as Lady Capulet mentions Romeo in terms of revenge. Juliet is still thinking about how great last night was. Lady Capulet, though, reveals that she has a pretty insidious plan for Romeo. She plans on sending somebody to give him some sort of poison. How does she know he's going to be in Mantua? This is a little concerning, perhaps, because maybe she is going to if the prince is going to take care of it, she's going to take matters into her own hands. And this is Lady Capulet. Like, what happened to the calm, collected woman who was keeping the men from the fight? Maybe that's because she wants to do all the killing herself. But she has joyful tidings to speak of now. I wonder what it is. And joy comes well in such a needy time. What are they, beseech your ladyship? Well, well, thou hast a careful father, child, one who, to put thee from thy heaviness, hath sorted out a sudden day of joy that thou expectst not, nor I look not for. Madam, in happy time, what day is that? Marry, my child, early next Thursday morning, the gallant young and noble gentleman, the County Paris, at St. Peter's Church, shall happily make thee there a joyful bride. Now by St. Peter's Church, and Peter too, he shall not make me there a joyful bride. I wonder at this haste, that I must wed ere he that should be husband comes to woo. I pray you tell my lord and father, madam, that I will not marry yet. And when I do, I swear it shall be Romeo, whom you know I hate, rather than Paris. These are news indeed. Here comes your father. Tell him so yourself, and see how he will take it at your hands. Here comes Capulet and the nurse. When the sun sets, the earth doth drizzle dew, but for the sunset of my brother's son, it rains downright. How now, a conduit girl? What, still in tears? Never more showering. In one little body thou counterfeits a bark, a sea, a wind, for still thy eyes, which I may call the sea, do ebb and flow with tears. The bark thy body is, sailing in this salt flood. The winds, thy sighs, who raging with thy tears, and they will with them, without a sudden calm, will overset thy tempest-tossed body. Well, how now, wife? Have you delivered to her our decree? Aye, sir, but she will none. She gives you thanks. I would the fool were married to her grave. Soft, take me with you. Take me with you, wife. How? Will she none? Does she not give us thanks? Is she not proud? Does she not count her blessed, unworthy as she is, that we have wrought so worthy a gentleman to be her bride? Not proud you have, but thankful that you have. Proud can I never be of what I hate, but thankful even for hate that is meant love. How? Chop logic. What is this? Proud? And I thank you? And I thank you not? And yet not proud? Mistress minion, you. Thank me no thankings, nor proud me no prouds. But fettle your fine joints 'gainst Thursday next to go with Paris to St. Peter's Church, or I will drag thee on a hurdle thither. Out, you green sickness carrion! Out, you baggage! You tallow face! Fie, what are you, mad? Good father, I beseech you on my knees, hear me with patience, but to speak a word. Hang thee, young baggage! Disobedient wretch! I tell thee what, get thee to church a Thursday, or never after look me in the face. Speak not, reply not, do not answer me. My fingers itch! My fingers itch! Wife, we scarce thought us blessed, that God had lent us but this only child. But now I see this one is one too much, and that we have a curse in having her. Out on her, Hilding! God in heaven bless her! You are to blame, my lord, to rate her so. And why, my lady Wisdom? Hold your tongue, good Prudence. Smatter with your gossips, go. I speak no treason. Oh, Goddy-Goden! May not one speak? Peace, you mumbling fool! Out of your gravity over a gossip's bowl, for here we need it not. You are too hot. God's bread, it makes me mad. Day, night, hour, tide, time, work, play, alone, in company. Still my care hath been to have her matched. And having now provided a gentleman of noble parentage, of fair demences, youthful, nobly trained, stuffed, as they say, with honorable parts, proportioned as one's thought would wish a man, and then to have a wretched, puling fool, a whining mammet in her fortune's tender, to answer, I'll not wed, I cannot love, I am too young, I pray you pardon me. But, and you will not wed, I'll pardon you. Graze where you will. You shall not house with me. Look to it. Think on it. I do not use to jest. Thursday is near. Lay hand on heart, advise, and you be mine. I'll give you to my friend, and you be not. Hang, beg, starve, die in the streets, for by my soul I'll never acknowledge thee, nor what is mine shall never do thee good. Trust to it, bethink you, I'll not be forsworn. Wow. Well, that was intense. Notice here that Capulet is really ice cold here. He came in here feeling sorry for Juliet because she was so upset and wanted her to feel better. That is his reasoning, as he tells her, as to why he wanted to match her with Paris. Now, obviously, knowing a little bit about the time period, knowing a little bit about how these things work, even though he did appear early on to care about his daughter's ideas, matching somebody with your family meant you were trying to secure something for the family long term, whether it's to lock up more of a fortune, to secure the money, to have more property and land, prestige, social status, right? Marrying Juliet to Paris provides those things for the Capulet family. And so he's really looking forward to doing that. But this is a major departure in the way he's talked to Juliet or about Juliet up until this point. The fact that she would decline a wedding with a nobleman like Paris, he isn't having it. And he says some pretty terrible things to her. You will do this. Otherwise, he's going to disown her. He says here on line 189, but, and you will not wed, I'll pardon you. Graze where you will. You shall not house with me. Like, you can move out. And at a time like that, where's she going to go? Essentially, he's going to kick her out of the house and she can't no longer be there. She's not going to have, she could, beg in the streets. He doesn't care. So Juliet's in a pinch now, for sure. And you get the feeling that if you thought Lady Capulet was a little ice cold, and the way she was talking about wanting revenge on Romeo, we just saw the dark side of Lord Capulet. A little hot-headed, a little saucy himself, perhaps. Maybe we understand a little why there is an ongoing feud, because you don't cross somebody like Lord Capulet. Is there no pity sitting in the clouds that sees into the bottom of my grief? Oh, sweet mother, cast me not away. Delay this marriage for a month, a week, or if you do not, make the bridal bed in that dim monument where Tybalt lies. Talk not to me, for I'll not speak a word. Do as thou wilt, for I have done with thee. Damn, Mom! Okay. Lady Capulet's no joke either. Oh, God! Oh, nurse! How shall this be prevented? My husband is on earth.
My faith in heaven. How shall that faith return again to earth unless that husband send it me from heaven by leaving earth? Comfort me, counsel me, alack that heaven should practice stratagems upon so soft a subject as myself. What sayest thou? Hast thou not a word of joy, some comfort, nurse?
Faith, here it is. Romeo is banished, and all the world is nothing, that he dares never come back to challenge you, or if he do, it need must be by stealth. Then since the case so stands it now doth, I think it's best you married with the county. Oh, he's a lovely gentleman. Romeo's a dishclout to him. An eagle, madam, hath not so green, so quick, so fair an eye as parrot hath. Beshrew my very heart, I think you are happy in this second match, for it excels your first. Or, if it did not, your first is dead. Or, 'twere as good he were as living here, and you will know of use of him.
Speakest thou from your heart?
And from my soul too, else beshrew them both. Amen. What?
Well, thou hast comforted me marvellous much. Go in, and tell my lady I am gone, having displeased my father to Lawrence's cell, to make confession and to be absolved.
Oh, Mary, I will, and this is wisely done. And the nurse leaves. Ancient damnation.
O most wicked fiend! Is it more sin to wish me thus forsworn, or to dispraise my lord with that same tongue which she hath praised him with above compare so many thousand times? Go, counsellor. Thou and my bosom henceforth shall be twain. I'll to the friar to know his remedy. If all else fail, myself have power to die.
And that's the end of the scene in Act 3. Wow. Act 3, huh? Things have changed. So Act 2 has all the love and happiness, and you're thinking, wow, what could go wrong? And then Act 3 happened, and you realize every damn thing could go wrong. Everything. You got people who are dead. You've got another wedding to plan, right? Juliet just keeps marrying people. And you really get to see the darker side of the Capulet family here. Lord and Lady Capulet are ice cold to Juliet, and are threatening to disown her if she doesn't marry Paris. What's most concerning here is at the end of the scene, and you can tell by the language that Juliet says here when she's alone on stage for this final soliloquy. She asks the nurse what she should do, and what's the nurse's advice? Well, Romeo's gone. He might as well be dead. He's of no use to you. She tells her on line 218, since the case so stands as now it doth, I think it best you married with the county. Oh, he's a lovely gentleman. And that this match excels your first. So she's talking really poorly about Romeo here, that he's a dish rag compared to Paris because he's so perfect. She's lucky to have this opportunity. It is a slap in the face to Juliet. Think of it this way. What would you do if your best friend, who you've confided in about the person that you're with in a relationship, is now telling you you've made a mistake all along and you shouldn't be with that person? It's like stabbing you in the back. Well, that's how Juliet feels right now. She feels alone. If you see how she responds in this soliloquy here, it is more sin to wish me thus forsworn, or to dispraise my lord with that same tongue, which she hath praised him with above compare so many thousand times. So she can't get over that now she's talking badly about Romeo when she's been saying so many wonderful things about him.
The most damning thing she says here is on line 242. Thou in my bosom henceforth shall be twain. And you can tell on the margin here, like, you and my heart, it's like they're separated. It's ripped apart now. Like, there is no longer you and I, and that trust is broken. This is the person who she's maybe one of the closest relationships she has, and she feels betrayed. So, the final line that she says here is pretty damning, right? She's going to go to the friar, because if not him, what else can she do? If he doesn't have any idea or remedy for this, since he brought Romeo and her together, if all else fail, myself have power to die. And there is a mention of her willing to take her own life. As we move on to the next act of this play, we can tell that this thing is taking a drastic turn for the worse. If you thought banishment was bad, well, now she's being forced to marry somebody else. The family doesn't know about Romeo. What is she going to do? Well, we'll have to find out more next week. All right, so that is the end of Act 3. Finish up your questions for that so you can be prepared for the quiz on Monday. More to come next week. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.